Okay, so here we go with our update. It is the third day of spring. This one finally decided to get up. He's definitely reaching that age where he does not care about too much anymore. Anyway, you ever wondered about daffodils and when they don't bloom? I dug these up and chucked them in the fire pit last year, and then chucked them back out, ran them over with a lawnmower, and what do you know? Now they bloom right on top. So never worry about daffodil bulbs. That's all I'm saying. These guys have turned out to be the cutest little things. Aren't they cute? Anyway, some of my bulbs are coming up, and I'm today dealing with mulch. So maybe someday I'll figure out how to stabilize my videos, but this ain't gonna be that day. So cocoa bean shells, exactly what you're thinking. They smell like chocolate because they are chocolate hulls, basically, cocoa hulls. And when layered together thickly, they have a tendency to rot and mold, and people just don't like them. They get funky. They start to smell like rotten. So I like to use them just in a thin layer. Once I've actually weeded, use them in a thin layer, and then basically they're decorative. They smell good for a little bit, but it's just a little bit of a soil amendment. But where they do overlap, they create like a mesh, like a web that traps water, which again is why they tend to rot and stink if you lay them on real thick. They're also bloody expensive. It's like $7 a bag if you can find it. So this year, I'm finally coming around the corner. This is my driveway bed. Now bear in mind, this whole thing was grass with a giant pine tree right in front of that big window. So I'm little by little tearing out all of the grass and putting in perennials. So this will be blooming soon. This truly crapped out grass, which every time the utilities companies come along, they reseed it with more, and it's just crap grass. It's about, I don't know, about 3 inches thick layer of dead root system. So I'm just tearing it out. And I'm not digging down, I'm just planting topical perennials. Like this will be creeping time phlox and dianthus. So it'll bloom, it'll smell good. Hopefully the rabbits won't like it. This section here, because I had all that topsoil hauled in, and like this is where the pine tree is, these beds are actually hugelkultur mounds. So you can see how long it takes for pine tree to degrade. It's going to take forever for these mounds to totally sink. But they are sinking a little bit, and they are kind of cavernous. So they've created this perfect little habitat space inside the mound for snakes and rabbits. Hopefully they don't get along and cohabitate, but you know, whatever. So I've already seen my first snake of the year. The rabbits never went away, so you know, 7:30 every day. McGregor alerts me that it's 7:30 and time to go hunt rabbits, which is really funny. You can set a clock by him. Doesn't seem to matter time change or not, which is really kind of odd. Anyway, the muscari have just started to bloom, which makes me so happy. They remind me of my mom. Little grape hyacinths. But yeah, as we build out, we'll take out all this grass. And the arbor, I'm still too poor this year to go buying roses as yet. But this arbor archway was built for climbing roses. This year though, in fact probably today, I'll be planting this with sweet pea vines under the tarp. It's just trying to kill the grass even further so I can rip that out, and it'll be thyme and mint. Well, thyme probably. Thyme doesn't like competition. Mint is like a heavy competitor. Mint will take over your garden no matter what. So my theory is if I plant mint out here, I'm still going to have to mow, but you know what? It's going to smell great. And it'll stay green. And it'll bloom and all that good stuff. And it's still just a topical root, so hopefully the city can't get mad at me. So little by little, Today's project, however, is getting this side bed up and ready. So, planting the sweet peas all around this because they are spring flowering. It will get way too hot, way too fast here for them, so I got to get them in the ground. But I've got starts for myself and for clients for their yards. My bluebird boxes have been very happily accepted by the bluebirds. And then this bed over the winter, these dahlias really don't look good, but over the winter, in the fall, these giant trees dropped down so many leaves, I just blew them all over. And I should have chopped them, I got lazy. But anyway, so that's what we're doing today. I'm taking the bag and the mulcher on the lawnmower and dealing with the 3 inches of leaves for compost. So, as I go through all these really thick leaves that just trap water, chopping them up with the lawnmower, you can see it kind of clears the path, tidying up, if you will. But then I emptied it into the wheelbarrow, and now that the leaves are chopped, I can transfer them over for another compost heap. So this is my previous compost heap, growing things, of course, and it's time to use that compost. Finish chopping it, sift it, use it, and then transfer the next compost heap into the back. And yes, those are iris again, like daffodils. You can toss them anywhere, they will continue to bloom no matter what you do. You just can't get rid of them. So once the super coarse leaves have been chopped, I'm taking the bag off and throwing it in the wheelbarrow. My garden helpers over here got their tub moved yesterday, and yeah, no, they're not in the tub, they're in the mud around the tub. Just count on it. Over here this year, because the reason I moved their tub so that when I drain it, it will just come down here, because you can see pretty much the drain from the house just drains straight to the tub, around the tub, down this little slope. The tree that fell over and broke my fence, but there's a grate right there, so now it'll just drain straight to the grate. Now my plan is, because of all this mud, I collected swamp mallow seeds last year, a couple different colors, so I'm going to plant those, see if we can't get some pretty little bloomy things to block that view. Got another bird box. And along this bed this year, I'm going to take out all of these branches, which I set up and decided against. Anyway, there are butterfly bushes already in the ground over here. I'm going to put some rose bushes, sunflowers, the swamp mallow, canna. I've got tons of canna bulbs. But the sun starts, because of these giant maple trees, the sun starts right about here. As soon as it goes behind those trees, this is just nothing but shade over here. So I think I might be able to count on like 6 hours of sun, which is good because that's partial shade, considered partial shade anyway. So I moved their fences. This is all plowed up, ready to be planted, and I'm going to till it again, just for good measure. And then the girls have this whole run, and they'll be fine. They're spoiled. So do that, and I'm going to take this compost, the leaf mulch that is now chopped. You see how crappy my grass is. Who cares? I'm tearing it out anyway. There's 2 more compost heaps that I need to combine all of these leaves once I have them chopped, so lots and lots of work. There's my tiller. So I'm going to till this and plant it with more perennials. I think I'm going to do sunflowers right in front of the duck house. Clean all that up. That's my fence with all the wattle wood woven in. But the perennials are starting to come up. But as you look at this, remember from last year, what a pretty lush garden it was? Well, this is what it looks like in the winter. Ugh. Awful, right? My rain barrel setups. So, really nothing going on back here, but that's the way that goes. only one of my gorgeous artichokes, I think, made it. So I have one little leaf coming up off of this. Everybody else looks to me like they got ground rot, which is really disappointing because I was really hoping for artichokes this year. But, you know, and for those of you who grow broccoli and are disappointed, like myself, I didn't tear these up this year. This is broccoli that was planted last spring. Never got a head on it. I mean, you can eat the leaves, so that's why I keep it, but it just, broccoli is a lot of work. You have to, any of the brassicas really, once the cabbage moths and cutworms start coming out, you're really kind of screwed. So we're gonna see how long these last. But that's broccoli from last year. It's supposed to be an annual. It's still going. Who knows? But yeah, another pile of leaves to be mulched and thrown on a compost heap. I think this, sorry, that was really fast. This compost heap here is going to get all combined down and tidied into that corner right there, and I'll build a box so I can flip it. But that way it's in the sun, it'll break down a little faster, and I can plant the rest of this area. That's a lot of leaves. Anyway, there's your update from my not so springy garden. Now when I'm talking about time, this is starting to come back. So this was all transplants that I did last year. This right here is the thyme. Plenty of weeds. But yeah, so the thyme beds, thyme walkways are going to work out. As long as you don't let grass be a competitor, or in my case grass and mint, then you should be able to get a full walkway. So hopefully, we'll see. I'll update you later. Bye.